It's 5:15 in the morning. Your iPhone alarm starts blaring. One more snooze and you'll be late. So you drag yourself out of bed and try to start your day. You go through your morning routine. Put on clothes, make coffee, maybe read a book if you're into that. Half awake, childhood memories start flooding back to you. This has been happening a lot recently, but there's one particular memory that never seems to leave your subconscious. You're running around on the playground of your elementary school. You eventually stop for some rest at the picnic tables nearby. Your best friend sees you sitting alone, and he stops by to have a conversation. He asks you, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" After he asks this, you sit in silence for a little bit. Potential moments flash in your imagination, and you can't seem to decide on any particular career. So you say, "I'm not sure what I want to be when I grow up." Your friend gives you a weird look, triggering some anxiety. So to add to the conversation, you say, "But I do know that when I'm older, I'm going to be rich." So when you get home from school, you think about the conversation you just had. And you ask your parents, "How can I make a lot of money when I'm older?" And they tell you the advice that will guide the next 20 years of your life. Get good grades, get into a good college, and get a high-paying job. So you get finished with elementary school, then middle school, then high school, then college, living through childhood friends, crushes, sports, and parties. But more than any of those things, you were focused on your studies. You made your parents very happy by getting into a prestigious university, and you decide to major in business administration, a career you aren't particularly fond of. And after college, you land a job paying $80,000 a year. Then you look down at your brand new iPhone, and you check the time. Oh no, time must have slipped away. If you don't leave now, you're going to be late. So you grab the keys to your new Mercedes and you head to work. Through fender to bumper traffic and radio talk shows, you park your car and walk into your office building. You step into the elevator, and you notice something you haven't noticed before. The faces of all your coworkers. They all look so tired, so disconnected from reality. Their looks completely contradict the modern and new-looking workspace you're heading to. But you brush that thought off and you walk to your workspace. Because of your high-paying position and the fact that you're working for a new startup, you've been afforded some luxuries that most people in your working class are envious of. So you sit down at your desk and you check your email. And the first thing you see is an email with the header, "Confidential." This can't be good. The email is from your regional manager, and it seems it's been sent to a few others around the office. So you open it, and it reads, "Hello all. Due to recent economic instability, our company is facing unprecedented challenges. We have been forced to make heavy cutbacks to our payroll, and this means we need to lay off some members of our team. Just know that all of your years of work and dedication have been extremely valuable not only to your coworkers, but to your company as well. And these cutbacks have nothing to do with the quality of your department's work. If you are reading this letter, please contact your supervisor and discuss options for your new severance packages." Severance packages? Did you just get fired? 7 years of work at this company, and you get fired via a mass email? Sure enough, it's true. And your severance package was only enough money for a couple months on the job hunt. Your childhood dream of becoming wealthy is slipping farther and farther away. At this point, you've been working in that dead-end job for what feels like forever. And what do you have to show for it? An apartment and a car? You're telling me you just sold the past 7 years of your prime working career for a 2-bedroom apartment and a car? This can't be true. You're not even on track for retirement. You still have $50,000 in student loans. Not even to mention your credit card debt. How did your life fall so far off track?
To the nearly 45 million Americans with student loan debt.
The number of people filing for unemployment in North Carolina continues to climb. It is now up more than 860,000 today.
New numbers out today show nearly 1.5 million Americans filed for unemployment last week.
On the shoreline of Maui's Wailea Beach, at the luxurious Fairmont Hotel, Sallie Mae executives and more than 100 of its employees celebrating a record year. $5 billion in student loans to 374,000 borrowers. But while employees of one of the nation's largest private student loan companies enjoy the pretty nice spot, many of the students Sallie Mae has lent to find themselves in a desperate one.
Let's back up a few moments. To those people in the elevator, What did you notice about them? That glazed look in their eye? Like they've done this 1,000 times before? It's almost like they're running on autopilot, which is pretty depressing when you actually think about it. And, as embarrassing as this is, you were too. And as you're looking back, it almost seems like you've been living your entire life like this. Every decision, every feeling, every thought running through your head, it all feels the same. Almost like you've been a gear in the machine that is someone else's life. Now this feeling starts to confuse you. Of course you've been living your own life. You've made every decision on your own. But the reality is you've been forced down a narrow, sad, and unfulfilling path your entire life. You never truly considered living any other way. But who's forcing your mind down this path? The reason you feel so anxious, so empty inside, is because you've been living the life everyone around you wanted you to live. An easy and predictable life, prioritizing safety and comfort, while disregarding happiness and fulfillment entirely. The advice from these people is far from bad intentioned. It's the only life they've ever known. But you were misled into an outdated system not only by your family, but by the education system, the governments, and the corporations who profit from you taking out student loans, or by you filling another seat in their classrooms. But back in the day, the corporate lifestyle was the dream for most people. Brand new car, the newest technology, and even a semi-comfortable work environment. I mean, this would be the absolute dream for your parents and grandparents. And from anyone looking from the outside, it looks like you're living the dream too. You had a stable job, drove a brand new Mercedes, and you were living a very comfortable life, all things considered. But that's exactly the problem. You became comfortable in a life that wasn't meant for you. You didn't follow your passions, you didn't chase any of your dreams, you didn't build any valuable skills or knowledge from the past 7 years of work. And, worst of all, you've been trading your entire life for money, and it wasn't even a substantial amount of it either. Looking back, you were a slave to the income provided by your job. Appeasing the corporate overlords, selling you the idea that their unnecessary products will give your life happiness. And it's true. Going out for dinner, buying a new car, and spending a couple $100s for a night out does give your life some happiness, but none of it lasts. It all goes away after the initial adrenaline rush comes and passes, leaving you with the same problems and less money in your bank account. In the words of Tyler Durden from Fight Club,
things you own end up owning you. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
you have everything your parents ever wanted, but you shouldn't be living your parents' dream life. You should be living yours. But it took being fired from your job to realize the error in your lifestyle. But now what?
My dad never went to college, so it's real important that I go.
Sounds familiar.
So I graduate, I call him up long distance. I said, Dad, now what? He says, get a job.
Same here.
Now I'm 25. Make my yearly call again. I said, Dad, now what? He says, I don't know. I get married. Damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, slaves with white collars. Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate so we can buy shit we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man.
So to truly change your life in a drastic way, first you're going to need to relearn the basics of the most essential item in this world. A force so powerful, it can crumble nations. A force so powerful, it can put you in any position of authority in the world. And that force is money. You've been taught earning money is two-dimensional. You work a job, and you get paid for the value you provide to your employer. This equation will only lead you to becoming an indentured servant to your boss, chained to the income your job provides. This equation for generating money is completely outdated. I'm going to assume, considering that you're watching this video, that you want to become completely free from relying on anyone. And you want to do that in as short of time as possible. For example, let's say you're working a job making $25 an hour, a wage most people would consider comfortable and livable. If you do the math, however, it would take 20 full working years to earn more than $1 million. And that's not even subtracting any living expenses, raising a family, taxes, or inflation. The harsh reality is that you will only be able to retire at an old age by living frugally. Not exactly the best plan, is it? What you want to do is learn how to make money without investing your most precious resource: time. The way most people solve this problem is by investing their money, sacrificing today for a brighter and more prosperous future. But investing alone takes years and years of consistent payments to Wall Street that will, again, only pay off by the time you retire in your mid to late 60s, letting your most precious resource slip through your fingers. So if investing isn't the sole answer for getting ahead in life, what is? Your focus should shift to building wealth as fast as you can. There are tons of books, podcasts, and other YouTube videos talking about saving and investing money, like Graham Stephan, the book The Millionaire Next Door, and The Ramsey Show. And it's easy to see why. It's a lot easier to give broad advice on how you can save an extra dollar or two than to give advice on how you can build a $10 million business like Graham Stephan, or build a $50 million nest egg for yourself like Dave Ramsey. But I want to point out the obvious for a second. Graham Stephan didn't build his wealth by saving $5 a day on coffee. He did it by making a substantial amount of money. Well, how did he do that? He did that by finding a gap in the YouTube market and filling it with good information. In other words, he found a problem, online education not having trustworthy information, and he attempted to solve that problem with a product, his YouTube videos. And the market responded positively, growing his income to over $5 million per year. So let's back up a bit, and let's take a look at how you can generate money without giving time away. At a basic level, money works like this. You are paid by the market in direct correlation to the perceived value that you bring. Well, what does that mean? Who's the market? The market is the people, the other members of your community. Whether that be your boss, your city, or your target market. The market tends to price things efficiently. Then what value can you bring to the market? Well, this is a complicated question, and the answers vary widely depending on the industry. But generally, if you are making someone's life easier, or you are saving your customer money, typically those are two forms of value that the market will pay for. And this leads us to the first principle that will be extremely valuable on your journey: scalability. How widespread is the value you are giving to the market? Whether your solution is for thousands of people or billions of people, it all relies on how well you can provide that solution to your target market. For example, let's say you're selling water on the streets of New York City. Not as valuable, especially considering New York City is cold for the vast majority of the year. But there are so many people walking by that some of them are bound to be thirsty. But it still doesn't provide drinking water at scale. You'll be tied to the street corner selling your inventory to customers directly. Now let's say you buy some vending machines and you place them around a large city close to you. Now this solution combines the foot traffic of a city with a way to make money without dedicating your time to it. Other than refilling the vending machine once every couple weeks or so, you're making money without you needing to work. This is a pretty simplistic answer for how to solve scalability, but at the end of the day, it isn't too far off of what's happening in the world today. For example, what problems does a website like Google solve? And how scalable are those solutions? Google solves confusion at its core. It is the solution to someone who needs information as quickly as possible, given to anyone with an internet connection, with minimal cost of adding new customers. Not to mention all the other entities Google owns and operates. Like YouTube, which solves anything from how to change your oil to providing entertainment to billions of people. How about Google Maps, which solves the issue of being lost in an unfamiliar city? Or the real moneymaker for the company, Google AdSense, which solves the problem that companies don't know who their customers are or how they can reach them effectively. But this may seem a little out of reach for most people. But you definitely don't need to start the next Google to make a living without a boss. But if you use this principle to find solutions to problems, soon enough your mind will be flooded with new business ideas. To brainstorm a few right now, think of any problem that you've been having recently. Yes, any problem that you personally have been having. And try to find 3 different solutions to that problem. Go ahead, pause this video right now and actually take some action. And once you do think of a few solutions, see if there's a way to build a business around that solution. At its core, this is all business really is, providing solutions to problems at scale. And now, after implementing these concepts into your now running business, it's time to take a look at what you've built.
Instagram, a company with only 13 employees, bought today by Facebook for $1 billion.
Elon Musk, what do you got?
He is now the richest person on the planet.
Last week, Logan Paul made over $5,081,490 selling digital trading cards of himself.
Facebook has bought the mobile messaging service WhatsApp for $19 billion in cash and stock.
So as your business continues to grow, eventually you'll be faced with a challenging question. An opportunity so great it can paralyze you with indecision. Do you sell your company and cash out, or do you continue to build bigger and better things? It's a challenging problem. On one hand, you're facing an amount of money that can give you the freedom to do whatever you want to do for the rest of your life, which I have a video on. But on the other hand, you built this company from the ground up. Or it could be running quietly in the background without you having to do much to maintain its functions. Or you could continue to work on it, hoping to sell it for more in the future. But either way, you won. You mastered the game that is corporate life. You broke free from the forces holding you down, and you did it in a very short amount of time. Looking back, you probably could do the same thing again in half the time it took you to build this one. But it wasn't even money you were after in the end, was it? No, it was the freedom you were truly looking for. Your lifestyle's actually gotten dramatically less expensive the richer you've gotten. And any intrigue you had over buying a new car or spending a stupid amount on one night is basically gone. There really isn't any fun in it now that you can afford to do it. The reality of it is you just wanted to finally grow up and be independent. If you wanted to take a 3-week vacation with your family in your old job, you'd have to ask permission from corporate. But now, you can take a 3-year vacation for all anyone cares. You have that freedom now, and nobody can take it away from you. But the most important thing you should learn from this video isn't about how money works or the basic ideas of modern entrepreneurship. It should be valuing the most important resource we have, the resource that can't be refilled or reclaimed. Time. Is giving 5 days a week to a job that you probably don't enjoy worth it? Probably not. But if it is, then that's great. Hopefully you got some entertainment out of watching this video, along with a new perspective on how money works. But if you aren't happy with where your life is headed, remember these 2 major pieces of information on your journey. Number 1, find problems and create scalable solutions to those problems. It's the core idea that any successful business follows. And number 2, value your time above all other things. It's the only thing in this world that can't be restored, repaired, or replenished, and you don't have very much of it. And that's pretty much it. I want to say topics as large as money and business can't really be covered to completion in a video like this. But if you do watch a couple more videos on this channel and others, you'll be sure to pick up some good advice on how you can change your life for the better. Some other channels I recommend are Andre Jick, Nate O'Brien, Alex Hormozy, and James Janney. And this video is hugely inspired by the works of MJ Demarco. His books had a tremendous impact on the way I see the world and how I think about money and business. And I'd also like to say that these videos take a lot of time and effort for me to make, so I'd really appreciate if you'd leave a like on this video. It lets YouTube know that this video is good and that it should be shown to more people. But anyway, thank you for watching to the end, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time I upload.